Hi, we're going to do pronouns here. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. So I am a noun, Miss Till. You can replace my name, Miss Till, with she or her. Those are pronouns. So fairly simple, but there are two cases of pronouns, the subject pronouns and the object pronouns. And they sound like what they are. A subject pronoun fits in the subject of a sentence. An object pronoun is an object in the sentence. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's start with the subject pronouns. So you get a sentence like go or goes to the store, and the person who fits in that is the subject. So it can be, you know how to do this. I go to the store. That makes sense, right? I is a subject pronoun. It fits in that slot. Other subject pronouns would be she goes to the store, right? He goes to the store. You go to the store, they go to the store, we go to the store. Okay, so all of those are subject pronouns, and that's the simplest, easiest part of this, right? You know that because you just say, can it be the subject of a sentence? Then it's a subject pronoun. Okay, the only tricky part are these reversible sentences. You do use a subject pronoun for a subject complement. For an example, I would say I am she. If they ask, ding ding, you know, ring ling, whatever, is Miss Till there? I would say I am she, or this is she, or it is I, right? You want to use a subject pronoun for those reversible ones. And a simple example of the reversibles, here you have he is the winner, right? A subject pronoun, he is the winner, right? But reverse it and you've got the winner is he. And that is correct. You would not say the winner is him. You would say the winner is he. Okay, that's the only tricky thing about subject pronouns. They're either in the subject position or they're on the back end as a subject complement, called a predicate noun, whatever. That would be the only tricky part with subject pronouns. Object pronouns, there are three different kinds of objects that would call for an object pronoun. One is a direct object. So, ooh, this is pretty violent, but okay. Tom hit her. You've got your verb, hit, and he did it directly to her, and that would make her the direct object. So that's when you would use an object pronoun. So another one would be like Tom hit me, Tom hit him, etc., right? You can also use it as an indirect object. So if I said Tom hit him the ball, what is he actually hitting? He is actually hitting the ball. That is your direct object, right? Whoops, that's a D, sorry. And then, but him is him is the recipient. That's your indirect object. Key word here being object. Because it's an object position, you use an object pronoun. And lastly, you would use an object pronoun for prepositional phrases. To is a preposition. That would make this is a preposition. This would be an object of the preposition. And that's an object. Again, it's an object. So you would use an object pronoun. You see how that works? So you use object pronouns for objects in the sentence. So Tom hit her, that's a direct object. Tom hit him the ball. Him is the recipient of the direct object. And Tom hit the ball to us. So three reasons for object pronouns. So okay, well, let's practice this. So if you get a pair of people like Sam and, it's easiest to imagine that there is no Sam and it's just the single person here. And you can then figure out, do I use the subject pronoun or do I use the object pronoun? Just by imagining that other person is not there. So let's see if we can do that. Sam and blank go to the store. So is it she goes to the store or her goes to the store? She, right? Very clearly. And you've got she goes, that's your subject verb. And that makes sense because it's a subject pronoun. Imagine Sam is not there. And then you get the right answer for which pronoun to use. Okay, going to the store, Sam and blank eat. Is it she eat or her eat? It's she eat, right? And that makes sense. Subject verb, subject pronoun. Okay, suddenly a bus hit Sam and the bus hit what? Did the bus hit she or the bus hit her? It hit her. And so that makes sense because hit is a verb and it hit her. That's your direct object. So object pronoun for that. The medic treated Sam and, take away Sam and, the medic treated she or her, right, her. And that makes sense because treated is a verb and she is the recipient of it. So you would use an object pronoun. That's a direct object again. I'm glad Sam and blank survived. She survived, right? So those are kind of fun and easy, right? You have to admit. If you make a mistake with that, it's called a pronoun case error. That makes sense because it's the subject case or the object case that you've made a mistake with. So here are two typical examples that we use in conversation all the time. Me and Dan are going shopping. I mean, how many times have you heard something like that? Me and my mom did this. Me and Susie did that, right? You hear it all the time, but it's a case error. And actually, it's a double error because to be polite, you should put yourself second. So it really should be Dan and me. But then it would be wrong because it's not me going shopping. It's I am going shopping. So it's Dan and I are going shopping, not me and. Okay? That's one. And then the second one, give it to Dan and I for a trip. You hear that because people think, oh, it's probably I. That sounds more proper. I'm going to go with I. Give it to Dan and I for a trip. But if you take away Dan and, you don't give it to I, you give it to me, right? Okay, so then you would use an object case, right? Again, you've got the case error. Give it to Dan and me for our trip. You've got the case, you want to use the proper case. Give it to Dan and me for our trip. Does that make sense? So at our school, if you get PC written on your paper by the teacher, it means you've got a pronoun case error and you've just used the wrong case. You've used subject for object or object for subject. Pretty okay. All right, let's practice with these ones because they're kind of fun. We workers and us workers, when you add the second word workers, it gets a little confusing, like I don't know whether to use we or us. But if you imagine that the word workers is not there, then you can see it more clearly. Just imagine the word workers is not there. The boss treated blank like kings. Did he treat we like kings or us like kings? Well, then it makes sense. He treated us like kings, right? And that again makes sense because us is a direct object. He treated us. That's who he treated. So that's an object pronoun. Okay. From what I've heard, blank love long hours for little pay. Is it we love or us love? We love. And that makes sense because we love subject verb, right? We've got a subject pronoun to go with this nice verb. Okay? The issue is between blank and the boss. Well, in this one, it's between us and the boss because it's a prepositional phrase. And this is a preposition. This is an object of a preposition, object, so object pronoun, and this is also an object of the preposition. It's a double. Okay. Let's not worry too much about why it's right, but you can kind of tell it's right because you imagine it without workers on there. It's between us and the boss. Okay. Again, you could reverse that and say it's between the boss and us and put yourself second. That would be nice. Polite. Okay, for blank, the issue boils down to wages. Is it for we or for us? It boils down to wages. For us, it boils down to wages. Okay, blank spend a lot of time sweating. We spend or us spend? Easy, right? We spend. Give the raise to us, right? No one ever asks us what we think. You got to admit, this is kind of fun when you get the hang of it, right? And then you're going to feel really great that you've mastered pronouns, which are one of the harder parts of speech to get. Let's take the last bit that's hard, and that's who and whom. When do you use who? When do you use whom? Well, to do that, you're looking for, you have to answer the question before you actually ask it and see, would I answer that with he? Or would I answer that with him? And these are not accurate by gender. I'm not saying that the answer is always going to be a guy, but what they do is they offer you the M. If the answer is him, you're going to need the M here. Let's just try it and you can see what I mean here. Blank are you going to take? You don't know whether to say who are you going to take or whom are you going to take. So you answer the question before you ask it. I'm going to take, and in this case, you would not take he, you would take him, right? If you're going to take him, then you use the M. Whom are you going to take? All right, so M. Blank asked you to prom. You don't know whether to say who asked you or whom asked you, so you think about it. He asked me to prom, right? If it's he asked me to prom, then you say who asked you to prom. Okay? To blank, are you sending that card? I'm sending it to he or I'm sending it to him? I'm sending it to him. Whoa. I'm sending it to him. So that means to whom are you sending that card? Does it sort of hook in now with the M's? Blank, are you in love with? I'm in love with he or I'm in love with him. I'm in love with him, therefore whom. Now again, the gender is not important here. Maybe you're in love with a girl and not a guy. In that case, you still say the M, and you're just checking for whether you use the M or not. Okay, blank gave it to you. He gave it to you or him gave it to you? He gave it to you, so you want to say who gave it to you. Blank is your teacher. He is your teacher or him is your teacher? He is your teacher, so who is your teacher? Blank is your mother. He is your mother or him is your mother? He is your mother, so who? I put that one in there because I want to remind you that it's not about gender. It's about these target words, just giving you they're helping you figure out whether to use the M or not, right? Okay. And then by blank is this note written? It is written by him. So you say, by whom is this note written? Blank wrote this note. It's he wrote this note, so you would say, who wrote this note? Okay, so these two sentences are basically the same, but one uses whom and the other uses who. So you just have to really take a second to answer the question in your head before you ask it to figure out which one it is. This one is by him. This one is he wrote. Make sense? All right, so good luck. Those are the basics of pronouns, and there's a part 2 coming up that's more complex, but if you can master these, you're way ahead of the game and you're going to be highly educated and well thought of in public. Good luck. All right.